It's actually 98. 98% of people actually want to work. So, have you ever calculated what it costs you when you get something wrong or when you hire the wrong person? Three to 9 times their salary. So if you think about, and that's a national average, 3 to 9 times their salary. So you think about the training that goes into that person, the onboarding that goes into that person. If they're in sales, what customers did you not get that you could have because of the way they were treated or dealt with, right? And on and on and on. And then you've got the exit of that person and the paperwork that goes with that. I mean, there's a whole host of things, which is why it's 3 to 9 times. But that's what it costs you when you get it wrong. And you know, did they create a situation where maybe another person in the organization ended up leaving because of them if they were in a management role, right? So personality. What do you think personality is? Describe someone's personality. What makes up someone's personality?
How they act.
Their attitude.
Yeah. Their attitude, their behaviors, their attributes, their characteristics, how they act, how they think, right? So do you think that comes from nature or nurture?
Both.
Partially, right? So the only thing that they can truly attribute to nature or DNA is IQ, right? So most of this comes from nurture. And at what point do you think someone's inherent traits are solidified? At what age?
15.
Age pretty close, right? So they say at least before 12, but it goes down more and more each year as far as when these traits are solidified. So how do you leverage a person's strengths and weaknesses, right? To make sure that they're in the right position that suits their inherent traits. So coaches make a great living trying to help people improve their weaknesses, right? So do you want to spend 80% of your time trying to make up for someone's weaknesses? I know I don't. I'd rather put them where they belong, right? So name a job that you're currently hiring for.
Project manager.
Project manager, right? So are we hiring them for who we think they are or who they really are, right? Because we tend to hire people for what they know and fire them for who they are, right? So when you think about that and you think about ways in which you go about hiring, so you look at resume as one, right? I know that's kind of hard to see with the light. But if you think about a resume, anyone can buy a great resume for about $250, right? What else do we do in a hiring process?
Gauge their appearance, like are they put together?
Put together, right? So you're gonna, that's like a gut check, right? So we do an interview, right? So if you think about the way an interview goes, I mean, wouldn't you agree that outgoing people just naturally interview better? Or sell themselves into the job, even if they're not the best fit for the job, right? So if we're interviewing an introvert, somebody that has that 2,000 words a day and they use them carefully, right? Are they going to interview as well as somebody that's an extrovert? No. So that tends to be somewhat subjective. So we look at their experience, right? What they've learned, what roles they've been in. I know that's really hard to see, Cash. Sorry about that.
Well, I just have a hard time seeing anyway.
Yeah, you and me both. References, right? I would hope that anybody could find at least 3 people that was going to say something good about them, right? If not, sorry. So then we look at references, right? referrals, or really it all boils down to a gut check, right? Can we get along with this person? Will they fit in the culture of the company? Will it, and again, that what we call the high B person, or the social attributes, they can sell themselves into the job, right? And those are all subjective. What we try to do is give you objective data to determine who the best fit is for a specific role, right? That's what we do at Culture Index. And that's what this survey tells us is, what are you built and designed to do? So we measure who they are rather than what they know. And we need to measure individuals against their traits, or the traits that are required to do the job that they're doing. Okay? So who is an accountant? What are the traits of an accountant?
Boring. Detail-oriented.
What's that?
Detail-oriented.
Yeah, right?
Numbers.
I know I want my accountant to be able to dig into the details. Somebody that can, excuse me, the pollen's getting to me. Somebody that can focus for extended periods of time, singular focus, right? Really focus on the numbers, people that aren't distracted, and so on and so on and so on, right? So, do you think that an accounting manager should have the same traits? They should sit in front of a computer and drill through the numbers all day, every day, or are they managing people as well? And with their traits, the things that they need to do to be good at their role be any different? Or the CEO of an accounting firm. He may never dig into the books. He understands how to do it, right? But more of a visionary, right? Somebody that's thinking in the future rather than looking at just today. So, how many of your kids or siblings, oh, we already talked about that, sorry. So, and I know that there were a couple of surveys. You mind if I use yours? Real quick. Okay. So, when you look at the traits, which is the top box on the survey, I don't know if you had seen it or looked at it or anything yet, so that is actually who someone is. The bottom half is a snapshot in time. So it's what they believe they need to do, or to how they need to act to do their job today. Now that could be driven by time of year, current project that's going on. You know, they may have to act outside their normal character based on what's going on in the company at any given time. But this tells us, I can use yours, Cash?
Sure.
Survey? Okay. Oh, I have to ask, right?
Not to put me in a
So,
situation or anything.
and I know you got timed out because you got interrupted, right? So here it shows us some of the differences, top and bottom. So what we want to know is, are they acting outside their normal character? And if so, to what degree? And it really helps us hone in on what's going on. And this tells us a tremendous amount. So we actually have our clients survey their entire team at least twice a year. So let's talk a little bit about the dots. So the red dot is autonomy or self-directedness, self-law, autonomy, which is the root of that. B is your social ability, which is kind of like your, I mean, it's an introvert-extrovert scale, but there's some idiosyncrasies that come with those words. So really it's more about data versus relationships. In other words, are they more data-driven than relationship-driven in their outgoing personality? The C trait is pace, or what I call patience, right? I don't like to use the word pace because when you get the survey that you have, when it talks about energy units and pace, it uses Culture Index terms. So I don't like to just send it to people without an explanation because they think, well, what do you mean I have low energy, right? I'm not a slug. It doesn't mean that at all. Then D is the conformity, or what I call accuracy. Conformity meaning Are rules suggestions, or are they steadfast and you've got somebody that, to the letter of the law, right? By the book on everything. Energy units, which is really mental stamina. And if you think about it like the batteries in your brain, it's how long you can act outside your normal character for an extended period of time. In other words, at what point will you need a break? If you're not doing, then really the only time we look at that is if the dots aren't in alignment and they're really acting outside their normal character for an extended period of time. Then L is logic, which an L of 0 versus an L of 10 would be heart versus head thinking. Head being a 10. So, you know, when they go to make a decision, it becomes an equation. Or are they doing it from their heart, and do they get spun up really easy? Do they wear their emotions on their sleeve? That sort of thing, right? And then I is ingenuity. So it's on a scale from 1 to 10. And if you think of it this way, so it's originality of thinking. So if you're thinking about a wheel, a 0, 1, and 2 sees a wheel as a wheel. And then you move up the scale just a little bit, it's somebody that might want to tweak the wheel. And then you get up around 5, 6, 7, they want to change the wheel. And when you get to, you know, up to around a 10, then you're thinking about people like Disney or Wozniak or Isaac Newton, right? It's like, why a wheel? Why don't cars just float on air? Right? So it's almost, to some of us, it's almost crazy. You know, who builds a theme park in a swamp, right?